What's up, bro?
Ask me.
I got you a question, man.
Ask me a question.
About the Bible.
Absolutely.
Hey, you gonna give me some respect, a little time, man? You come over here, man.
I give everybody.
All right. So you believe in the Bible, right? You believe in Christ Jesus? Who did he come to save?
The whole world.
The whole world? Okay. Where can I find that in the Bible? Okay. Let's go there. Let's go there. All right, cuz. Yeah. All right.
What's the greatest commandment?
The greatest commandment to love God and your brothers. That's the two greatest commandments.
Absolutely.
That's the most important thing. Now, how do you love someone?
Embracing who they are.
Sure are.
So put it like this, right? If a man want to be a pedophile, that's in his mind. That's the okay thing to do. Am I supposed to love him?
Are you supposed to love him?
Yeah.
Embrace Christ, according to Christ.
I'm supposed to love a wicked person.
You're supposed to love
Let me hate the
person, not the sin.
You supposed to, huh?
You're supposed to love the person, not the sin.
But God, he hates the sin and the sinner.
He does. Oh, yeah, I got it.
Give me Psalms. Give me Psalms 5 verse 5. You hold that. Get Psalms. Let me show you something. You said, where does it say that at, right? Let's go. Psalms 5 verse 5.
This is Psalms chapter 5 verse 5, right? The foolish shall not stand in thy sight. Thou hatest,
the Most High hates
all workers,
doers, workers
of iniquity.
of sin. He hates all the workers of iniquity. Iniquity is sin.
Okay, so it totally makes sense because in the Old Testament, before Christ, so according to the law of the Old Testament, right, we have sin. So of course he hates us, but he also loves us, and the fact that he sent Christ to become the intercessor, mediator of our sins. So yeah,
But
he hates
here,
us, but he also loves us
hold on. I want to
give
say
us
one
Christ.
thing. I want to say one thing on that. What does sin have to do with y'all specifically?
What does sin have to do with us?
Oh, I got you.
What is sin?
Sin is everything that
is
not holy.
How does the Bible define sin?
The Bible lets us know what sin is.
Yeah, well,
through the law.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Let's go ahead and get it. Let's go ahead and get it real fast. Go ahead.
But the law,
hold on.
The law was inferior in that it only showed us what our sin was.
All right, this is the book of 1 John chapter 3 verse 4. Whosoever committeth sin, transgresseth also the law. For sin is the transgression of the law.
So sin literally is the transgression of the law.
Yes.
So were y'all under the law?
Were we under the law?
No.
Were we under the law?
Matter of fact, who was under the law?
All men were under the law at one time.
All men? Hold on. All men?
All mankind.
Where's that in the Bible?
Well, if you think about
Exodus
the law being given to the Jews
into Israel,
then it was them that was given the law.
Yeah, they were the only ones.
They were supposed to be set apart.
Yeah, only Israel. That's the point I was trying to make. Only. Hold on. I want to deal with I want to deal with your question. But let me finish this though. The law was only given to Israel. It wasn't given to anybody else. So sin is the transgression of the law. So if you are not an Israelite, how can you then sin?
How can you what?
How can you then sin? Because sin is the transgression of the law. So if somebody's outside of Israel, how can they sin?
And Paul speaks about that in the New Testament, of course, where if people were ignorant of the law, then God did not hold that sin necessarily against them.
That's not true.
That's not true.
They do have sin, but they are ignorant of the law.
Okay, here's my question.
I want to finish this.
You have a lot of.
I do want to deal with your question. I promise I'll get there, but he said something. I got to do it. Let me just do one thing.
No, hold on. Here's what I want to know.
You can't just say something and just leave it up in the air.
I want to
here's
know
what I
leaving
wanna
any.
know. We're not
You guys are out on the
leaving
streets talking to people about all this stuff. There's a lot you guys leave out there.
That's
Okay,
well,
so here's
that's
what my
not
question
specifically
is.
true.
What is your point? Because right now you're asking a bunch of questions that I feel like you're trying to trap us in something.
I'm not trying to trap you.
So I want to get you to what are you trying to tell us? What is your message?
Okay.
What do we not know?
Let me just give you the message of the Israelites, right?
Okay.
The Israelites are the only people that the Most High God cares about.
Okay.
The Most High God sent His Son, Christ, Jesus, real name Yahweh Shai in the Hebrew, to die for Israel and Israel only. The law only applies to them, and everybody outside of that has no business with this book, according to this book.
Then why are you having a conversation with us about it, except for to maybe just tell us that we're all going to hell? Is that the point?
What are you trying to do, man?
We just want to see.
Sorry, man, I didn't see you.
What are you trying
I was
to
just
do?
asking for the Bible.
But is
because
that, I mean, it's
at the end of Christ's life before his ascension, right? After his death, after he's been with the apostles for that time, he specifically tells them to go and tell all nations, baptizing them in the name of
Why?
Why does?
Why is it that?
So that they can be part of the new covenant in his blood.
Okay, let's go to the new covenant. Let's go to the new covenant. Hebrews 8:8. Let's see. You give me Hebrews 9, verse 15.
Alright, this is the book of Hebrews. This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 8, verse 8. For finding fault with them, he saith, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, when I will make a new covenant.
A new covenant, so it's about to define what the new covenant is and who it's for.
With the house of Israel.
The house of who?
Israel.
Not everybody.
Israel. In the house of Judah.
In the house of Judah. So Israel and Judah.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt.
Because that happened to the Israelites. That would the historical fact that it's quoting happened to the Israelites, showing you this is specifically for the Israelites.
After those days, saith the Lord, I will put my laws into their mind and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a God.
To them a God, the Israelites.
And they shall be to me a people.
So what does that word, everybody? That means it has nothing to do with y'all. The Bible specifically, verbatim says, the new covenant is for Israel and Judah. You're not Jews, and you're not of the house of Israel. The 9 tribes that were scattered away.
Is that also what it says in the Greek?
Yes.
Is that also what it says?
Yes, we can go into the Greek, but I want to get one more thing. Give me Hebrews. Hebrews 9.
This is Hebrews chapter 9, verse 15. And for this cause, he is the mediator of the New Testament.
That's talking about Christ. Go ahead.
That by means of debt, for the redemption of the transgressions.
The transgression, the sins. Christ is the mediator for that. For what?
That were under the first testament.
Who was under the first testament? Israel. So what? He's the mediator for the transgression under the first testament. Wait, there's more.
That which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance.
Give me Isaiah chapter 48, verse 12.
What about Matthew, the end of Matthew, Christ's own words to the people? Go and baptize all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father, the Son.
Are Israelites in all nations?
It says, go and enforce.
Yeah, I heard what you said.
They were their own nation, right?
Huh? They were their own nation.
Yeah. Are Israel in all nations?
That you're supposed to go out
there are many prophecies in Isaiah about how Christ is coming.
You avoided my question.
I feel like I feel like right now, in terms of all the biblical prophecies about Christ, we're missing the ones that are very specific to
everybody else. Where's that at? Because you said
blessing to the whole world. There are many verses.
Where?
Brother, I'm not going to be able to spout them all off at you right now.
Hold up. Give me Isaiah 50. Let's show. Let's
I can see right there that you've got a 1611 edition of the King James Version.
59,
understanding
verse 20.
What I know about interpretation of languages, that the King James English was one of the least efficient translations of the Bible.
What about Paul? Talk to me about Paul.
What do you mean?
How he was sent to the Gentiles.
Because I'm gonna deal with that in a minute. Because we're not literally we're not KJV only. We deal with all the translations. We also deal with the ancient manuscripts like the Hebrew and the Greek. We're not just like the standard Christian and just
do you guys have a website?
We have a website?
Yeah,
we have a YouTube.
I would be glad. I would be glad.
We have a YouTube channel.
Having eaten dinner, I would be glad.
I'm trying to tell you. Let me tell you.
Some of those specific ones that say that Christ is here to save.
Okay, wait. Let's go.
But he's not just here.
Isaiah 50.
You make it seem like he's here just to save a select group of people.
That's what the Bible says. Let's see a Christological prophecy in Isaiah, like you talked about.
Isaiah 59 verse 20. In the Redeemer.
Who's the Redeemer? That's Christ, right?
Hang on, man. Hang on.
Who's the Redeemer?
We're not having a conversation right now. What you're doing right now,
hold up.
you're battling me on the street.
I'm not battling you.
Oh, yeah, because
hold up. You're talking about, just let me just say one thing, bro. Let me just say one thing.
You guys have said a lot. You got your camera.
You talk more than I have. Yes, you have. Yes, you have. Let's deal with Christ.
Those two talk more than you actually spoke.
They actually read the Bible. Let's deal with Christ prophecy. No, you don't. Read this.
And the Redeemer shall come to Zion.
Come to who?
Zion.
Is that everybody? Who's that?
Zion. Yeah. And it's to them that turn from transgression in Jacob.
See, that's matter of fact, that's in Jacob. Every part in the Bible references Israel. I don't understand, bro. Christians don't know the Bible. They like to say, "Oh, I want to see your passages." I want to see a passage in Isaiah where it says salvation for everybody, bro. Matter of fact, what's the gospel then? Give me Isaiah 60. Give me Isaiah 60. If this is for everybody, let's see something real fast. Give me Isaiah 10. Isaiah 60 and verse 10. That's amazing, bro. If you're gonna say Isaiah is the worst place to go. Isaiah is the absolute worst place to go if you're gonna say salvation for everybody. Get this. Please.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 10. And the sons of strangers shall build up thy walls.
So wait, somebody's gonna be building up walls. The sons of strangers. That's not the Israelites. Go ahead.
And their king shall minister unto thee.
Yeah.
For in my wrath I smote thee, but in my favor have I had mercy on thee.
Yeah.
Therefore thy gates shall be open continually.
Now why would our gates be open continually? Let's see.
They shall not be shut day nor night, that men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles.
The forces of the Gentiles, all their wealth. You can look at it in the Hebrew. Go ahead.
And that their kings may be brought. For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish.
So what is that talking about then? If the nation and kingdom that don't want to serve us, that's talking about servitude in the kingdom. The nation who doesn't want to serve us shall perish. So how is our salvation for everybody? Why would you go to Isaiah? Why would anybody ever go to Isaiah to say salvation is for everybody? Christians do that one thing that certain people do when they're unlearned on the streets. They continue to talk so it don't look like they're confounded, bro. That's what they do. He said, well, what about Paul? What about, you know, he had nothing to say when the New Covenant came out. He had nothing to say. Hebrews chapter 9. Read that again. Read that again. He's about to get. I know. I wanted to set him up for it. He wouldn't let me set him up. He wouldn't let me set him up.
This is Hebrews chapter 9, verse 15. And for this cause, he is the mediator of the New Testament.
The mediator of the New Testament, or New Covenant, same word in Greek.
That by say we don't read the Greek. That by means of death, for the redemption of the transgressions that were under the first testament.
So Christ's entire purpose in death was for the redemptions of transgressions under the first covenant. Who was under that? Israel. He got cut there. He got cut there. Israel was under that. So he died for Israel. Go ahead.
That which are called might receive the promise of eternal inheritance.
So they who which are called, give me Isaiah 48 and 12. That they which are called, I wanted to hit him with that one too. It's great, bro. You just cut, man. You just cut. You Christians don't know the Bible. All you know is Paul. What about Paul? What about Paul? Paul was.
You just read Paul.
I have nothing to say. And first of all, who is Paul, bro? Paul's the least of the apostles. But the first place I run to is Paul. Paul was called. Give me 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 14.
13. I was 13. Trying to pull it.
Verse 13. Get that.
1 and 13.
Yeah.
Alright. This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 13.
Yeah.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 13. Is Christ divided? Was Paul crucified for you?
So they run into Paul like Christ died for their sins, bro. Like Paul is the end-all, be-all of the Bible. The least of the apostles is the end-all, be-all of the Bible, bro. But back to what I was saying before in Hebrews chapter 9, verse 15, you get that. It said, for those who are called might receive the eternal inheritance.
This is Isaiah chapter 48, verse 12. Hearken unto me, O Jacob, and Israel, my called.
My what?
My called.
My called. Israel is the called.
Israel is the people who's going to have the eternal inheritance, bro. The eternal inheritance, not internal. Eternal inheritance. We're going to have it because our kingdom, what are we going to inherit? We're going to inherit the kingdom. It's going to last forever. It shall break in pieces all the rest of the kingdoms. That's the eternal inheritance. Showing you that the kingdom is only for us. Matter of fact, he was so cut at Hebrews. That's why he wouldn't let me go to this. He's had to keep on running his damn mouth. But Christians are just, oh yeah, everybody was under the law. When? How you gonna turn around and say everybody was under the law, and then I was trying to go somewhere, oh, I guess Israel was under the law. Yes, nigga. That's what I'm saying. Well, give me Psalms 147. You give me, matter of fact, you go to Psalms 147. You go to Exodus chapter 23. Let's see if the law is given to everybody. That's where I was trying to go earlier. Let's see if the law was given to everybody. This is Exodus chapter 24, verse 3. And Moses came and told the people all the words of the Lord and all the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice and said, all the words which the Lord have said will we do. Now, who was with Moses in the wilderness? Israel. And if you want to play a game and say it's the mixed multitude, let's see. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord and rose up early in the morning and building an altar under the hill and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. So he built these pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. So Israel is who it's for. Keep going. And he said, young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrificed peace offerings of oxen unto the Lord. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people, and they said, all that the Lord have said will we do. So he read it again to Israel, and all these words, this book of the covenant, all the words, they agreed to it. And then what did he do after that? And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord have made with you concerning all these words. So what? He made that covenant on Israel because he had the blood and sprinkled it on them. So you can play a game with the mixed multitude, but it's clear who this is talking to, and it's clear who he did this to. So the law wasn't given to everybody. They never swore the oath that we swore. That's why we get continually oppressed because of the curses, because we signed that contract, because we are subject to the terms and agreements. That's why we get subject to the curses. If y'all are under the law, why didn't y'all go on slave ships? If y'all are under the law, why aren't y'all children getting taken away from y'all? If y'all are under the law, aren't y'all the tail and not the head? Why are y'all lending to people and nobody has to lend to you? You're not subject to these curses. You didn't sign this agreement, man. We signed this agreement. That's why we have to be out here on the streets, man. That's the whole purpose. That's the whole purpose of us being on the streets, to give our people Deuteronomy 28, really the whole chapter, because our people need to see the blessings and the curse, like it says in Deuteronomy chapter 30. Give me Deuteronomy chapter 30. That was it. That was Exodus 24. I think it's 3 to 5, yeah. Deuteronomy 30. That's the whole purpose of us being out here. Because people will say something just straight idiotic. Why are y'all? Oh, what's that dude? You hear about that dude ran up on IUIC? There's a dude in Nigeria. He's a famous internet scoffer, like Kel's Opera. He ran up on IUIC and was like trying to say you're Israelites because of trying to call yourselves Israelites because of Deuteronomy 28 is foolish. How is it foolish when the Bible says we're going to do that? Read this. Let's see who's foolish. This is Deuteronomy chapter 30 from the top. And it shall come to pass, when all these things are come upon thee, the blessings and the curse. Now, where's the blessings and the curse located? Deuteronomy 28, Deuteronomy the 20th chapter, all the way through. So go ahead. Which I have set before thee, and thou shalt call them to mind among all the nations whether the Lord thy God have driven thee. So we're going to call these the blessing and the curses, mostly the curses, because if he's driven us into a land, we're definitely subject to the curses. Because one of the curses, I believe, is 64. It talks about you'll be scattered into all nations. So that's talking about the curses specifically. So if we see ourselves in these curses, we're Israelites. Because right after that it says, after y'all do this and then hearken unto the law, you're going to be saved. So that means in this time period, we're going to read Deuteronomy 28 and apply it. And call ourselves Israelites. Dummies, bro. Internet Israelites are the most foolish people, man. The most foolish people. Y'all only live to scoff. Y'all want to call everybody else wicked, but y'all don't have no works, man. No teaching videos. Now, and you want to say, how could Jacob and his wife have a white child? But wait a minute, you said Japheth came out white.
Japheth came out white.
So
Isaac
and his wife, yeah, Salak. How Isaac and his wife had a white child. Well, wait a minute, you said Japheth is white. I thought everybody was black then, according to you. So where's that white? Can you demonstrate Japheth becoming white? Can you demonstrate him white in the scriptures? No. But I can show you how somebody looked different from everybody else in the Bible, who is Esau in Genesis chapter 26. Like, I don't think this is foolish, bro. Yes, it really is. Tobit 4:12. Double back to that. But give me this.
Psalms. All right. Psalms 149. Oh, Psalms 147. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 147, verse 19. He showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments.
We just read in Exodus chapter 24. What?
Unto Israel, he have not dealt so with any nation.
Proving the doubling down on it that the mixed multitude didn't get this. Proving that they had to be dead or in a different place. This was only given to the Israelites. Correct?
And as far as his judgments, they have not known them. Praise ye Yahweh.
As for his judgments, they have not known them. So guess what? They weren't there. Only Israel got sprinkled upon, the blood sprinkled upon them. That's why we're subject to the curses. That's why Amos chapter 3 says the Israelites, the only family the Most High God knows. And because of that, he's going to judge us for our iniquities.